What's going on, guys? My name is Tony Z, and thank you for tuning into my Astra Malorum Easter egg guide. Now, before we get started, I want to say thank you very much for tuning in this video, and if it helps you a lot and you have managed to get the Easter egg done, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps my channel grow. With that being said, let's get into this Easter egg. Starting with augments, we're going to go ahead and go to Quick Revive and equip Dying Wish, as it's going to help you survive any lethal damage with 1 HP, which is going to help with survivability. Hopping over to Depth Perception, you want to go ahead and equip the Sixth Sense augment, as this is going to help you take less damage from behind when running away from any enemies or the boss. Heading over to the Vulture Aid perk, I recommend equipping the Armormatic augment, as this is going to allow you to autoplate, and it's just one less thing for you to worry about amidst the chaos. Hopping over to Meal Kick, I recommend running Multipack, as this is going to have the ability to potentially save you thousands of points and just make this run easier overall. Getting into Gobblegums, I'm going to show you the way that I did it, and this is going to be the more cheap way versus the paid way. And for these Gobblegums, I recommend running Soda Fountain for additional perks, Stock Option to use your reserve ammo, and this is really going to be good for the boss fight, and you'll see why later. Cashback for max ammos, Aftertaste to keep your perks in case you go down, and Shields Up because armor will be an issue in this boss fight, to just get you that little extra survivability, take less hits, and it also gives you double armor, so it'll be a lot easier. For your field upgrade, I do recommend running Frenzy Guard along with the Frenzy Fire augment, and then if you have your minor slot, I do recommend running the extension for increased duration and Repair Boost for more armor per kill, because that's also going to help you gain more armor. Again, I cannot stress enough how much armor will be an issue in this boss fight, especially if you're not set up properly or if you don't have enough points. Hopping into the last few recommendations here, first we have Dead Shot. I recommend running Dead Ahead to increase critical damage, as well as Dead Break to increase damage to armor, and Dead Draw if you have the extra slot augment available to you, as it's going to reduce hipfire spread. Getting into our last perk here, Double Tap, I do recommend running Double Dealer, as every 4th bullet in your magazine deals double damage. That is guaranteed double damage every single time, and you're going to be laying loads of fire into hordes. In Double Caliber, this is going to allow for additional penetration damage, and this does penetrate through armor pieces a lot easier. And lastly, on Shatterblast, I would recommend running the Big Game Major Augment, as well as running the Blast Through Minor Augment. If you don't have Blast Through unlocked, I do recommend Blast Zone, as it does give you a bigger explosion radius, and you'll just hit more zombies and damage the boss more effectively. For loadout weapons, I am running the M34 Nova line, as this is considered the best high output damage weapon at this time. It used to be the DS20 Mirage, but unfortunately that has been nerfed to the ground. But you can use any sort of high damage weapon that's just going to help you with bullet penetration. I do recommend running the FMJ attachment as well as the suppressor, as FMJ will do more damage to armor pieces, and suppressors just give you the option to drop more salvage, and everybody knows salvage is king. Step 1 is to turn on Power to Pack-a-Punch by interacting with this organ here, but you'll need to find 2 parts. Each part has 3 possible spawn locations, and I will show you all locations right now. The first part location could be located here, as it is in my game, over by this display case. The second could be here laying next to the sofa, and the third and final part location could be located in the Dissector trap room right over here, tucked in this corner. Getting to the next part location, one of them can be spawned right here to the left, just tucked away next to this machine. Another one can be over by this table that you see me running towards and past. And final one could be at the top of the stairs on the opposite side of this balcony. Now that you have collected both pieces, what you want to do now is head your way back to the dome, over to the organ, and you want to interact with it. Once you interact with it, you're going to start repairing, and at this point it's going to start a sort of lockdown sequence, and you have to defend the organ from being damaged. Now be warned, the zombies in here are a little bit more stronger than normal ones. They feel like they're about 2 rounds higher, so I do recommend having an uncommon rarity weapon, or a weapon of any higher rarity to just output a little bit more damage. As you can see in my gameplay here, I am struggling to knife, but once you're done with the defense lockdown, you'll be able to unlock Pack-a-Punch. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the original Pack-a-Punch machine that we all know and love. Unfortunately, upon Pack-a-Punching, it doesn't do any cool animations, which is still a little lame. Now that you have unlocked Pack-a-Punch, what you want to do now for your next step is to interact with the organ. Interacting with this organ is going to cause a little rhythm or hymn to play, and what's going to happen now is you need to look around the general area of the dome to find these steam valves. These valves are noticed because you'll hear a slight hissing sound as an audio cue to know that you're near them, and you're going to want to shoot about 6 or 7 of them. I'm now going to show you all of the spawn locations for these steam valves. First location will be right here behind Pack-a-Punch above this crate. Second would be in the teleporter room. Third is just to the right of these crates right here. The fourth one is going to be located by this machine just on this pillar. The fifth one, it can be located down below in the dome, and the sixth could be located on the left or right hand side, depending which you're running to. The final 2 are going to be located up top on the catwalks. There's going to be one on the east side and one on the west side. Now that you have successfully shot all the steam valves, what you're going to do now is go back to the organ and interact with this visor. Upon entering this visor, you're going to see it's going to put you in kind of like a little map. And what you want to do is move your cursor around or your controller and look for Mars. Upon finding Mars, you're going to want to center it as close as possible as you can, and on the bottom left you're going to notice 4 digits. These bottom 4 digits are going to represent a code that we will use later on in this Easter egg. As you can see by my code, I have 5729. Once you have successfully gotten your code and you have memorized it, written it down, do what you need to do, the next thing you can do is you can hop back into the visor, and what you want to do now is you want to get as close as you can to the sun. Now you don't want to get it directly over, as this will automatically kick you out and start a trap sequence, and we don't want to do that. For right now we want to set it roughly about a couple inches away and just leave it, as we'll need it for our next step. Once you have got the trap sequence set up, what you want to do now is run around the map looking for an Oscar. Once you have found this Oscar, what you want to do is aggro him, get him to chase you, and you want to walk him all the way over back to that sun trap. Now, be very warned, this is going to take a really long time, as the Oscar moves just about as fast as a Valkyrie from Gorod Krovi. Anybody that's actually played that map to do the Easter egg knows exactly what I'm talking about, so just be a little bit patient. You're going to get hit, you're going to want to save a zombie at the end of this round, because his little laser, when he shoots you, is going to end up aggroing all the zombies on you, and it's basically like dealing with round 55 sprinters. So just be very careful, be patient, and eventually you'll get them over to the trap. Once you get Oscar as close to the trap as you can as possible, you're going to want to interact with the sun visor. Upon entering the sun visor, you want to go ahead and hover over the sun, and it'll automatically kick you out. Upon kicking you out, it's going to activate the sun trap, and you want to keep Oscar in there for roughly about 5 to 7 seconds, and once he does so, he will automatically explode. This is one of 3 Oscars that we need to kill. To get set up for our next Oscar, what we want to do is go ahead and get a weapon and equip Cryo Freeze to it. Once we equip Cryo Freeze, we want to go ahead and go around the map looking for these purple Aether Crystals. With the weapon with Cryo Freeze equipped, if you shoot these crystals, it drops an absolute 0 fragment. You want to collect 3 of these. These are pretty easy all over the map. You can find them mainly within the courtyard area if you have difficulty doing so. If not, just flip around in case you shot them all and more will spawn. Once you have all 3 fragment shards, what you want to do is go ahead and flip a couple rounds to spawn in another Oscar. You will know another Oscar has spawned once you hear a siren sound at the beginning of the round. It sounds something a little like this. Once you've got that second Oscar spawned in, what you want to go ahead and do is look for him once again and lead him over to the museum. Within the museum is going to be a little rocket. With that rocket, you want to go ahead and get Oscar as close as possible to it. Again, it's going to be the same thing like the sun trap. It's going to be a little patient. He will hit you with a laser, and it will be a little bit annoying, especially if you're on a Ravager round like me. Once he's within range, you want to go ahead and interact on this side of the rocket, holding F or square if you're on controller, and it'll initiate a sequence. You want Oscar to be within range of this rocket or in the general vicinity of this little diamond kind of area, and you want to be in that zone once the rocket goes off after 1. Once that is complete, he will die, and that is number 2 out of 3 Oscars that we need. Up next, we're looking for these street lamps. Now these are placed all over the map in multiple locations. There are some in spawn, there are some in the courtyard, and there are some in the area leading from the dome all the way to the lunarium, and there's one tucked away hidden by Wisp T. Now what you're looking for with these street lamps is one that's blinking approximately every 1 second. Once you find this blinking street lamp, you want to go ahead and shoot it, and this will drop a part that we need, the aberrant wiring. For this next part, you want to go ahead and acquire a Pack-a-Punched weapon. It doesn't have to be level 2 or level 3, it can just be level 1, upgraded, uncommon rarity. And what you want to do is you want to go make your way all the way from Pack-a-Punch all the way to spawn and locate Old Tessie. Once you have located Old Tessie, you want to go ahead and stand directly in front of her and shoot her hood. Once you shoot the hood on Old Tessie, it'll go ahead and pop open and drop a car battery. This is part number 2. Now at some point during your playthrough defeating one of these Oscars, you may have shot one of his drones. And now this is going to be an additional part and the final part that we need to finish out this 3rd Oscar. You want to go ahead and shoot one of his drones and acquire what is the UFO. You should already have this UFO if you already done the 2 other traps successfully, so that'll be in your inventory. If you don't have it, just go ahead, walk around the map where you killed the Oscar at the sun trap, as well as the rocket trap, and there should be one of the little drones there. What you want to do is you want to take all 3 of these parts and you want to insert it into the dissector trap. Once they are inserted, you want to wait for Oscar to kind of walk into the building, kind of get just past the slant. Once he's past the slant, you want to go ahead and activate it. What this is going to do is going to start a battery overcharge. And all you want to do is just run around in a circle with Oscar, avoid getting hit, maybe kill off a few zombies because some will spawn from shooting Old Tessie, as well as just your standard zombies. Just run around probably about roughly 30 to 45 seconds, and the trap will complete. Upon defeating your final Oscar, he will drop the wonder weapon, the LMG-1. You want to go ahead and take this, and we can move on to our next step. For our next step, we're looking for yet again another Oscar. Well, this time, we don't want to engage with him. Instead, we want to kind of sneak around, try to follow him, as you're going to be looking for a certain audio cue. You're looking for the audio cue that mentions Dr. Thruston. Upon that audio cue, you want to stay as close to him to where you can still hear him. Subtitles are really good for this because he's going to list off a name of planets, and we need this because it is a code. In my game here, you can see they mention Jupiter, Neptune, and Venus, and that is going to translate into a code. What we want to do is we want to put those planets in the order that they are in our solar system. 1 being Mercury, 2 being Venus, 3 being Earth, 4 Mars, 5 Jupiter, 6 Saturn, 7 Uranus, and 8 as Neptune. Once you have successfully figured out your code, what you're going to want to do is head over to the dome and go over to this machine that has near the steam vent on this pillar. What you're going to do is you're going to input that code in the sequence that you named your planet. As my game is, it is 582. Upon completion, you're going to hear a elevator kind of shift down, and it's going to be the elevator just here right to the left of Pack-a-Punch. All you want to do is hop up onto this table and hop up onto the shaft. Once you hop up onto the elevator, what you're going to want to do is you're going to interact with the body, whether that is F on keyboard or square on controller, and you're going to attain the Cairo key. Once you have gotten the key from the elevator at the dome, what you want to go ahead and do is head over to the museum, and you want to head to this back right corner where the exfil station is. What you're going to see is you're going to see a glass display case here, and all you want to do is go ahead and melee the far left. Go ahead and interact with it, and you will end up obtaining the rock saw. Once you obtain the rock saw, what you want to go ahead and do is head over to Messina Astrals, and you want to go over to this Cairo chamber. Once you're in this Cairo chamber, you're going to interact with it, and a body's going to pop out. Once the body pops out, you're going to go ahead and hold F to interact with that as well. Now this is going to create a scene where you are chopping the guy's head open, taking out his brain, and it's also going to cause an Oscar to spawn on you, as well as a bunch of zombies. So you are kind of immune in this phase, so you're a little bit safe, but be warned because they will start to swarm you, so you may go down if you are not careful. So I recommend just throwing a monkey bomb, a decoy, or a cashmere, just for a little bit of extra safety, even though it doesn't get too bad. Now that we have acquired the brain, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and head over to the Lunarium from the museum, and what you're going to do is you're going to instantly turn right, and you're going to see a brain in a jar. All you want to do is you want to go ahead and interact with it, and what you'll do is you'll swap out whatever brain was in there with the new brain. Once you have done that swap, you want to go ahead and interact with it one more time, and it's going to start another defense. This defense lasts roughly about a minute, so all you want to do is just go ahead, just spam your LGM1 as it has unlimited ammo, you pop your Frenzied Guard, anything to help you kind of survive for that 1 minute, because this thing does take damage pretty easily, so you just want to make sure to keep it safe, keep from getting destroyed, because if not, you'll have to flip another round. Upon successful completion of the defense, what you want to do is you want to go ahead, pick up the brain, and you're going to walk it all the way over to the archives. Once you go ahead and head in the archives, you want to drop on down, turn to your left, kind of like a 180, and you're going to go ahead and interact with this table. Once the brain is placed, you want to go ahead and interact it one more time. This time you'll hold your interaction button and the brain will connect to a machine. Once you have the brain connected to the machine, what's going to happen is the computer on the left hand side is going to flash a series of books. It's going to pop up with Thrusting's reading list, and it'll follow a sequence. Something like the Black Veil, the Moon Directive, the Noble Void, and the Singularity. This can be in any random order, so pay attention to what order you get. These are constantly flashing, so there's no need to flip rounds or interact with anything. Just every now and then take a peek, see what they go, but make sure you have the order correct. Once you have successfully acquired your code, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and turn around and head into the library. Now there's a different series of books, and thankfully MrRoflWaffles, the godsend that he is, has created a cheat sheet that I have now laid out here. I say again, this is not my cheat sheet whatsoever. All credit goes to MrRoflWaffles and his team for making this. That guy is a legend. Please check out his channel, as he's the one who has inspired me to make these tutorials. Once you have the order of your books, this cheat sheet's going to go ahead and help you, as these are always in the same order. So for example, if you have the Unknown Void and you have the Witchlight Codex as well as the Black Veil, your code's going to be 1, 1, and 1. If you have something such as the Witchlight Codex and Ashes of Bone, and you have the Moon Directive and Black Veil, your code will be then 2, 1, 1, and so on and so forth. For however many books you have within your code, within that set number will be the number that you have. Once you have your set numbers, such as in my game, I have 2, 1, and 1, you want to go ahead and interact with the according bust. In my game here, you can see me interact with the first one twice, the second one once, and the third one once. Once all these have been interacted with, you will go ahead and receive a quote from your character, and what will happen is there will be a slab in the ceiling that will open. All you want to do is climb the ladder, look to the left, and grab the planet Neptune. Once you have successfully acquired the planet Neptune, you're going to go ahead and head back into the Astralis, and you're going to head upstairs. You're going to be looking for a pole that kind of sticks out just hanging over one of the balconies, and you're going to go ahead and interact with it. Once you interact with it, you're going to go ahead and notice that the middle solar system diagram is going to kind of rotate in a circle, and it's going to put the planets out of an organization. What we need to do now is we need to line up the planets Saturn, Mars, and Neptune. It'll always be these same 3 planets, and they have locations pinged around the map. These papers are always in the same spot, so I'll go ahead and show you the locations now, as the direction does change. Our first spawn location will go ahead and be in the Astralis, just here on this table, kind of tucked away near where a TED task would spawn. And as you can see here, I have Southwest Saturn. A second location will be in the library, just right over here on this table. This is Northeast Mars. And our third and final location will be located here in the Lunarium, just to the right of the dissector. And this right here, you can see I have Northwest Neptune. Once you have all three of those planets and their locations, you're going to want to head back over to the Australis, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to stand kind of in the center portal area, and you're going to look up. You're going to notice that this diagram has cardinal directions labeled north, west, south, east, along with northeast, southeast, northwest, and northeast. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to locate the planets such as Saturn, Mars, and Neptune, and you're going to want to shoot them in the correct cardinal direction. Once you have successfully shot all of those planets into their correct cardinal direction, we're going to refer back to our original code that we got when we centered on the planet Mars. As you remember in my game, mine was 5729. What we're going to do now is we're going to take those four numbers and we're going to go over to this machine here just to the right, just above the brain, and we're going to interact with it. What we're going to do is we're going to input said code. Once you input that code, you're going to go ahead and hear Thrusting give you a quote. Once that quote is done, you're going to go ahead and head over to the brain and interact with it. Once you interact with it, it is going to start a lockdown sequence to open a portal. During this portal sequence, you're going to have an Oscar that spawns on you, along with a bunch of purple-eyed zombies. The best case scenario here is just to not focus on the zombies, but rather go ahead and train them running in a circle upstairs, while Oscar is shooting drones. These drones you need to go ahead and shoot to protect the portal. If the drones hit the portal, it's going to remove progress, and you can fail this step if you're not careful. It does get pretty annoying running away from Oscar considering he just keeps shooting a stupid red laser at you, but just keep it on a circle, focus, listen out for the little beeping that happens when he deploys a drone, shoot the drone, and rinse and repeat for roughly about 45 seconds. Upon completion of the lockdown and you successfully defended against the drones, Oscar will go ahead and automatically despawn. Once he despawns, Thrust will give you a quote, and then you will go through the teleporter, and congratulations, once you are through, you have made it to the planet Mars. Once you've successfully made it to Mars, you're going to go ahead and you're going to hear Thrust and give you another quote. What's going to happen is he's going to fall from the sky and land in this center podium here. All you want to do is go ahead, pick him up, take him upstairs, and place him in this device. Once you have placed him, you're going to go ahead and interact with him by holding the interaction button and connecting to a machine. He will then give you another quote.
I'm receiving a strange signal. It sounds like...
Once Thurston is done playing that screeching sound, you're going to go ahead and head to the window in the back left, and you're going to notice when you look out, you're going to see 4 pillars. You're going to want to shoot them in a specific order, specifically from the back right, to the back left, to the front right, and then to the front left. Once you have shot in those 4 pillars, you're going to go ahead and instantly turn around, look above where the device is, where you place Thruston, and you'll see another pillar. You're going to want to go ahead and shoot it as well. Upon shooting it, you're going to notice that there is a little flying, what looks almost like a Quidditch from Harry Potter, and you're going to try to catch it. If you are on mouse and keyboard, best of luck, this is not the friendliest experience whatsoever. Upon successfully catching it, you're going to want to go ahead, you're going to head over to the back right, over near this kind of pyramid looking thing, and you're going to go ahead and interact with it. Upon interacting with it, you will notice at the top of these pillars that have symbols on them, little rings will pop out. You're going to go ahead and pull out the LGM1, and you're going to want to shoot these top of these pillars. The following locations for the pillars are the 2 up here to the left and right of Thruston in the back corners, 1 to the right of the pyramid, and then the other final 2 are across the way over by the ammo box. You could see 1 tucked up against it, and then 1 directly behind it. Once you've successfully shot the top of those pillars, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and head back to the observatory dome. Once you have made it back to the dome, you want to go ahead and interact with the organ. If you look to the right, you will see a computer that is flashing different symbols. Each of these symbols has a correlation to one of the pillars back on Mars. Here I have also given you another cheat sheet that the legend himself, MrRoflWaffles, has created. Thank you again to him and his team for giving us such an awesome cheat sheet. This makes it super simple, as all I do is I go to each symbol on the organ and I reference them 1 through 5, and it makes it really easy just to remember it that way versus remembering them as metronome, diamond and diamond, everything, things like that. So I would just take this list, go ahead, label it 1 through 5, and then just go ahead on a piece of paper or within text chat, just go ahead and type what numbers you have in order. Upon doing this code, you will realize that one of them will flash as a squiggly line as a no code. That squiggly line is going to be the one code that doesn't pop up as a symbol. So you're going to reference that symbol to your number. For example, if you had 1, 2, 5, and 4, your blank symbol that didn't pop up would be 3. Sometimes it's hard to tell if the blank symbol is your first one or your last one, but if you don't have it and you get 4 symbols but don't know where the third one is because it's at the beginning or the end, you can always reattempt it, and if it's in the beginning, it'll pop up the minute that the organ starts playing, and if it's the last one, it'll pop up the minute the organ stops playing. Really easy to figure out, but just for now, you can go ahead and repeat the organ as many times as needed to ensure you get the right code the first try. Once you have successfully figured out your code from the organ using the cheat sheet provided, now you're ready for boss fight. Now, I would take a couple rounds, go ahead and get ready for this boss fight because you do want to be prepared for anything that come your way, getting all your perks, getting Pack-a-Punch level 3 on your LGM1 because we do want to take this to the boss fight to make this really easy. You also want to make sure you have those gobblegums that I mentioned before, such as stock option and cashback, as you're going to want to use the unlimited ammo method for the LGM1 while it still works, and cashback for max ammos to get equipment back, such as your cashmeres or monkeys, depending what you bring. You also want to make sure that you have your field upgrade fully charged, as we will need that for the third phase of this boss fight. Once you've successfully gotten set up with your Gobblegums field upgrade and pack 3 weapons, as well as any tactical equipment that you want to bring, you're going to want to go ahead and go back to Mars and interact with Thruston. Once you interact with Thruston, he's going to give you a little bit of some dialogue, and then he's going to launch a bunch of lasers into the sky. Now is for the fun part. You are now fighting a giant floating rock. This first phase is super simple. All you want to do is go ahead, kill zombies. You will be chased by a laser. Don't get hit. It does damage you pretty hard, but for the most part, you can kind of run tight circles and you'll be able to avoid it easily. For your second phase, it is the same thing. Dodge lasers and kill zombies. However, this time there are going to be meteors that every now and then will target you. All you want to do is just simply move away and avoid it because there is an area of effect damage that likes to linger for about 15 seconds or so. Phase 3 is no different, same thing, kill zombies, lasers, meteors. However, now there's going to be toxic gas that fills the arena for a small duration of time. It doesn't hurt you, it just slows you down, but still kind of sucks because you can get hit by zombies and miss out on armor plate. Once you have killed enough zombies for the third time, your screen will flash white and you can go ahead and interact with the machine. Once you've interacted with the machine, one final laser beam will go ahead and attack Caltheris, and congratulations, you have beat the boss fight. Or so you have thought. Congratulations, you have beat the first stage of a 4-stage boss fight. The second stage of this 4-stage boss fight is pretty simple. It's just Caltheris as a giant rock golem, and all you have to do is simply just run around and shoot her armor. I recommend shooting the LGM1. It makes it pretty easy as the little aliens just kind of destroy every single section of her to easily expose her critical spot. Critical spots usually are in the top left or top right shoulders or the stomach. Wait for your aliens to kind of expose it, run around with whatever your high damage output weapon is, and go ahead and finish her off for her first phase. Phase 2 is essentially the same as the phase 1 boss fight, however this time she's going to be throwing bigger rocks, she'll be moving a little bit faster, and she'll be a little bit more tankier. All you want to do is go ahead and pop your stock option and go ahead and just lay into her the LGM1. For some reason with this weapon specifically, it just has a bottomless clip, so you can just spam her with aliens, take her down really quick. Congratulations, once you have completed phase 2, you are now onto phase 3, which is the final phase of her rock golem form. This phase is the most difficult out of all of them, as she has void rocks that she throws, causing area damage, and they are really hard to avoid as they have a massive range. You cannot jump over them either, as jumping over them will affect you as well. She also moves really fast and is basically like a super sprinter on crack. She'll constantly be behind you, hitting you, throwing rocks at you. The best way to go about this is go ahead and pop your Frenzied Guard and just lay into her as well. Sometimes this will fully deplete her health, sometimes it won't, it's just a matter of hit or miss. But spraying that many aliens will expose her critical spot, and all you need to do is just run around and avoid her. Just try not to die like I almost did a few times. Once you have successfully taken down her third and final rock golem phase, congratulations, you have completed the Astra Malorum Easter egg. Now you get to sit back, enjoy the cutscene, enjoy a little bit of story, and a sneak peek into the next map. If this Easter egg tutorial has helped you in any way, shape, or form, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what tutorial you'd like me to do next. This has been Tony Z, have a nice day.